Namaste. A book title like The Spiritual CEO is always an intriguing concept. When I chose the title of this book, it was the beginning of the pandemic. Lockdowns hadn't yet been announced. The world hadn't yet understood what the impact of this pandemic is going to be. We are still staring at the tip of an iceberg, not being sure where we are headed. That's when a few of my like-minded friends, we all met casually. And then the topic was going around, and finally it came, what would the world look in case this pandemic is going to become big? We were just hypothesizing, but not really clear what was going to happen. We hadn't yet estimated, like many CEOs and CXOs of the world, what the impact of this pandemic is going to be. We were all just talking. And then the topic veered around what would be the role of a CXO or a CEO should this pandemic continue to grow bigger and bigger. Even after 2 years, we haven't yet understood what the impact of the pandemic is going to be into the future. Would there be more ones, variants, newer viruses? We don't know. But one thing happened during that time, once and for all, is that it changed the landscape of how CEOs and CXOs will be looking at doing business once and for all. It was my contribution to the table then that the time for only looking at profits as a driver of growth is over. The CEOs and CXOs will have to relook at how they are looking at business beyond profits. Even 10, 20 years ago, the concept of purpose over profit as a topic had gathered a lot of momentum and strength globally, but the pandemic really gave it a big booster dose, I should say. It was a rude wake-up call. People were waking up to new realities, looking at life and business differently, once and for all. While the fundamental premise of any business is to make profits, CEOs had started understanding that only looking at profit could be a long-term disaster. Also, the role of a CEO and CXO globally has now started changing. Beyond just running businesses, they have become opinion makers, opinion shapers. If you touch the life of one CEO and change the way in which he thinks and feels about what is happening around, he can go out and potentially change thousands and thousands of people. Because CEOs and CXOs sit right at the top of the helm of affairs in any organization. And today, the world being commercially run as it is the corporates and organizations, small, big, medium, which has an impact on how people think and behave. And hence, the book that I started writing based on the discussion a few friends had was woven around the concept of the spiritual CEO, who is the fulcrum of the business, who would not just drive profits, but also drive profits based on certain purposes and values. The name of the book was born. Within a week or two, I had finished completing the name of the chapters and how the book will be brought about. It was to be based on the Hindu mythology and a few of the stories that I have read from the West, which connected well back to the dots that I wanted to weave together as a bigger picture. Of course, there was a liberal dose of quotes from Gita, which sort of resonated well with the concepts that I was sharing. And hence this book, which many of you have already read, was bought over by a publisher and published globally on the 30th of April, 2021. Yet, as some of you may be wondering, why these series of videos? Many times authors have certain points that they wouldn't have been able to elaborate or dive deeper when they wrote the book. Also, it slowly grows into them when they finish writing a book and it is published. There are newer points which crop up, which either calls for a sequel or calls for some way of sharing. These videos that you're going to watch over a period of time on the topic the spiritual CEO would be covering points that I didn't dive deeper into the book, or points that I would have wanted to write but missed for whatever reason. It's going to be a treasure trove for each and everybody who is going to listen to these videos. It'll just not be a series of sharing of knowledge, but practical inputs that you can take and start using in your business, where you will be able to bring a balance between purpose and profit as soon as possible. You will find it something like a toolkit, a positive toolkit with which you can churn bigger and better stories to tell your future generations about what you did in this corporate that you're running currently. A lot of insights are going to come in, a lot of practical input that are going to come. And of course, all these are going to be available to you for free to watch this video, use it, spread the news, make this world a better one, where profit is not a bad word, but profit with purpose makes a big difference. And how to run the organization that you are currently running or the organization that you'll be running in the future based on both these concepts is going to be the fundamental fulcrum on which all these videos and concepts are going to be further built and shared with you. I'm really delighted to be here sharing these insights with you. The series of videos that you're going to watch as we go along. I'm very sure you'll find this an enjoyable journey, an interesting add-on to the book that you already would have read, The Spiritual CEO. If not, you can always get your copy. I'll be joining with you shortly in the future videos and set the base through this video for you to enhance the current skill set that you have in driving your organizations on an effective balance of both purpose and profit. Till we meet again, this is Prakash signing off. Thank you.